Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. My opponent's gone first with Farn, and I have two pairs of duplicate letters. I'm just wondering if I have a bingo. These don't look very promising, but pituitous is good. And that's only got one U, so that's not going to go. I don't think I have a 7-letter bingo, so I'm just considering the available floaters. No, I can't see a bingo, so I'm looking to resolve my duplicates and get rid of my U's, and UTU is good. But I can't place the U above or below either of the A's, so it would just be a matter of playing UTU and UN, which wouldn't score very much. Payu is good. That also doesn't play anywhere worthwhile. I could play punt. That's interesting because it does... well, I can play putty across here. Doesn't get rid of both U's, but it scores reasonably well, and the rack leave isn't too bad. And that's definitely better than playing punt. Well, that's not good. I do have audio, which I could play at G2, so I am going to be able to resolve this rack. What else is available? My opponent is likely to use the triple word square at H15. I certainly want to use my U and at least one of my O's. Okay, well I can play audio at G3. Is there anything better? I'm looking for other spots where I can play it. And I don't think it plays elsewhere, and my priority is resolving my rack. And neither of us has established a lead as yet. Well, I now have 6 consonants, but there are plenty of vowels on the board to play through. I notice the triple letter square at F10, but I can't put any of my high scoring tiles on that because I don't have any tiles which go above par or T. Now I've got comb on my rack. But there's nowhere to play it. I'm looking at the I of audio. I could place my B above that, so or my M. I could play mob. And actually I could play mobs, which would resolve the duplicate S. Now that scores 35 points, and the rack leave of CDS isn't too bad. And if I am going to play above audio, above the OF, I can only play my O, so I can't really play to the left. Or if I played to the left, the O would have to be above the D, and I wouldn't have a better play than this one. Well, I've got the Z, I've got scoring tiles here, and I've got 2 vowels, so I'll definitely be able to play my way through this. I'm close to schizoid. I would need a floating I for that. But I've got zo, dzo, and dzho. So hopefully one or more of those may play somewhere. My opponent has got a 27-point lead at the moment, but that's not very much. MI only takes an A in front, so I can't take advantage of my H front hook for oof. Just wondering if I can play down onto the B of mobs from the triple word square at AH. But I can't see anything. Now I've got dzo at F13. That's going to score reasonably well. And the rack leave of CHIS is actually quite good. That's 38 points. Can't see anything better. And I draw the X. And I have several high-scoring tiles. I don't have a bingo, and there certainly won't be an 8-letter bingo. So I'm really looking to score well and leave a decent rack leave. I'll certainly want to split up the duplicate H's. But the CH combination is quite good, so I don't mind if that stays on my rack. So maybe a play of hex somewhere would work. I can't see anywhere on the board at the moment to place my X and score anything other than face value. Now I can't play underneath the J, I don't have an O or an A. I think, gosh, I'm thinking about LICHES. Is that good? Now certainly, I know that itches is good, and it's a case of remembering the front hooks. And if this is good, it's 42 points. I think it is good. Fiches, liches, mitches, I think that's how it goes. Now the rack leave of H, X isn't great. And I am using my S. But 42 points is quite a big score, and I do want to keep scoring. Great, I draw the first blank. I've still got a lot of high scoring tiles on my rack, so I do not have a bingo. And it would be good to play off my X now that I've got a blank, because with my blank I want to be bingoing. And I do have an opportunity. I can play hex at B3, leaving ABC blank. Is there anything better? I now can place my, I do have a letter which goes underneath the J, so I could have a word which either ends in A or has got AXI in it. Can't see anything. So I can play hex here. Unfortunately, I haven't got any words which end AX. BAC isn't a bad leave, and that's 39 points, so I am keeping the score rolling along. Okay, well that's the second blank as well. So I certainly ought to be bingoing this go. It can be quite difficult to spot bingos when you've got both blanks, and it'll probably be low probability because I've got duplicate A and I've got the B and the C. Now what I'm looking at is the highest scoring rows, and that's going to be either from H1 down or row O, starting at O1 or starting with the S of lychees. The most likely source of a bingo is the O1 ending in S, because I can then focus just on 7-letter bingos which take an S at the end. This is going to be quite difficult to do because of the duplicate blanks. I do have over 11 minutes. I don't have a great deal of prefixes or suffixes to work with. I've got AB as a prefix. I think can banks is good. And that would place the B on the double letter square at 04. But I'd rather play a word that I was more sure of. But can banks is an odd word to remember if it's not good. I'm just going to mentally run through the alphabet for one of the blanks, see if anything else jumps out. Car barn. Pretty sure about car barn, and again that's placing the B on the double letter square. So this isn't going to be inferior to can banks, but I'm more sure of car barn. Let's see if that stays on. If it does, I've got double W and double I. I seem to be having a large share of the high-scoring tiles, which is fine, provided one can keep scoring with them, and I have been able to do so far. I certainly want to play off one W, at least one W, and at least one I. Wiki is good, and Kiwi, if there's anywhere to play those. I don't have anything to play under the J of Joel's, so there aren't too many scoring opportunities. I can't play down onto the O of Zo from A15. Well, that's good. Car Barnes was not challenged, and my opponent has provided a place where I can play Wiki and Kiwi. Now JO takes an L and a W after it, so I'm just seeing if I can find a word which stretches across to that, but I don't have a word with IW in it, or that ends IW or IWIC. I don't have a word which begins at L1, but I do have Kiwi or Wiki at L2. Is there something better? I've got Wilk at M7, that's WHILK. That's not going to score as much as Kiwi and Lie. I'll play Wiki because it's more likely to draw a challenge. 24 points. I think there may be something better here that I'm overlooking. But I don't know what it is. Well, this is nice. Quite a reasonable rack. I don't have a bingo. I've got a 120 point lead, and the only bingo lanes that are open are in the bottom right corner of the board. So if I can start populating that area, I may be able to hold on to my lead. Chouette is good. I could play that at L8. Sorry, I don't have the H. I can't play that. My opponent's changed. So I'm really looking at words which go through the C or the H of lychees and which reach the double word square. So a 5-letter word beginning with C would work. So cleft. Ideally I'd like to play off the W as well. And I could put the W in front of the H. So I could play weft. For 19 points. That would be quite obstructive. Actually, playing through the H has advantages over playing through the C, because if I play through the C, I'm not obstructing row N. Now weft gets rid of both my non-bingo-y high-scoring consonants. It's not a great rack leave. There are plenty of E's in the bag. I could end up with a lot of low-scoring tiles and duplicates. But strategically this is pretty good because it restricts the bingo lanes to columns 14 and 15, and I should be able to take them out next go. Well, I have ooglies. Nowhere to play it as a 7. There is a bingo lane in column 1 through the R of reap. That would be for a bingo with R in exactly 5th place. Good, my opponent has taken up some of the space in the bottom right. So if I can play in row O, I can score well and take out the bingo lanes in columns 14 and 15. R only takes an E after it. Well, so I could play EUOI. That doesn't feel great. But if I had a move beginning in column 11, so O11 underneath the TA, that would be a 5-letter word beginning OE, GE or LE, and there isn't one that I can see. So I'm then looking at words which begin with the E, and I can't see anything other than UOI. Now the Q is out there, but if I play UOI, I'm actually have 2 spare eyes on the board, so I would definitely be able to play off my my Q. 18 points is reasonable with the board this tight. Yeah, that's fine. There is the Q. I can play it at N15. I can play it at K3. At K3 I can play QIS for 24 points. I don't think UI was a great play, but we'll find out shortly if there was a much better one. I am 110 points in the lead. There are no bingo lanes on this board apart from column 1. And I'm not going to block column 1 because it would be a very unlikely and very low scoring bingo. And I'd be better advised to just keep scoring. 8 tiles left. If I play off just the Q, well, I can play it here or here. I think this spot is, well, it's 1 more point. Just looking around to see if there's anywhere else that the Q plays. And I can't see anywhere. I have lodgers. If my opponent does open the board, I may be able to get in and play it. I don't have an 8-letter word through the R of reap, and there's nothing else. There are no other bonus opportunities to consider. I have got a lead of 101 points. There are 7 tiles in the bag. There are 7 on my opponent's rack. The only tile which scores more than 2 points is the V, so my opponent is unlikely to score well. Right, I do now have 2 floaters in the V and the A. I don't have anything through the V. Do I have an 8-letter bingo through the A? It'll be pretty high probability, so I should know it, or will know it rather. Well, there aren't that many bingos with D and G. No, I can't see it. I've got an 85-point lead, so I don't have to leave 1 in the bag. But it's probably still advantageous to do so, because if my opponent were to bingo in column 1, then he would not be ending the game. Well, I'm looking at Go and Gov. Neither of them completely take out the floaters in Valet. The other option I'm considering is Grovel. And I think this does extinguish the floaters pretty comprehensively, and Valet doesn't open up anything else. And it scores a lot more. I have Rinds. Don't think it goes anywhere. There are the separated O and A in column 15. I have Ordains and Sad Iron and Inroads. Unfortunately, none of those goes through the O and the A as they're cited. I've no idea if it was would have been better to have left 1 in the bag than play Grovel. I'm sure there is an answer to that. Sometimes it is clear and sometimes it isn't. I've got nadirs at D10, that would be an outplay. I don't think I have any others. So if nadirs is blocked and nothing is opened, I could play digs at A8 for 21 points. Just considering the E and A of oh dear to see if I have a 6-letter word beginning with one of those letters. So it's nadirs, drains, dinars. Well, there may be one or two others, but none of them begins with A. TA takes an I in front. I'm looking at row L, but I don't have a 5-letter word beginning with the I. I can see my opponent's 7 tiles at the bottom of the screen. Great, nadirs is not blocked. And my opponent hasn't provided any opportunities for playing a better move. So nadirs 26. I'm just waiting for my opponent to formally end the game. Which he does. And the final score is 408 to 283, so quite a comfortable victory. Let's see what I missed. Okay, this was my opening rack, and putty looks like it was best. Nothing obviously better than audio. And mobs and mocks in the same spot look like they were the best plays. Well, I mentioned DZHO. I didn't spot that I could play it in row J for 47 points. Now I played DZO at F13, so I sacrificed 9 points. But actually CHIS will eat up some of those points. So, and actually Zo's uses the S. Actually, my move was better than Zo's, I believe. Light cheese. Yep, that looks like the only high-scoring play available. And hex at B3, that was my play. Right, let's see what was available. Okay, so Canbanks was good, and Carbarns was good. And, well, you can see for yourselves that there are plenty of opportunities. Balances is probably the best known word there. And snapback I wouldn't have been sure of. But Carbarns scored the most, so that's fine. Well, I played Kiwi. Wick was playable, and that would have retained a vowel and scored 2 more points, so Wick would probably have been slightly better. Well, not quite sure what I did with this rack. Let's just see. Oh, well, I played Weft for 19, Yeah, I see. I could have played underneath Wiki, but that would not have obstructed the floaters in lychees, and I was anxious to do that. So this is a move which would require analysis to determine whether weft was best or how suboptimal it was. Oops. Oh, dearie me. Eulogies. Gosh. Eulogies and eulogize, both playable through the E of oh dear. Yep, okay, well that was a bad miss. Fortunately it did not cost me the game, but it's still annoying to miss a word which is, well within one's knowledge. This is where I played chin, and I think getting rid of the Q was the right thing to do. And, well, a whole bunch of possibilities here. I chose to block the floaters in valet with grovel. This is another move where you really need to analyse it to establish what's best. And nadirs and ranids in the same spot were the two outplays. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game. There were definitely a number of interesting positions. Eulogies was a bad miss, but bad misses do happen more frequently than one would wish. Fortunately, it doesn't diminish one's enjoyment of the game too much. So thank you for watching. My name's David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.